This ring, no other, is made by the Elves, who'd pawn their own mother to get it themselves. Mystara is no stranger to high-powered artifacts. I mean, we've got the Nucleus of Spheres, the one artifact that is probably going to destroy the world. You're not just going to find earth-shattering doomsday devices lying around for people to find them in Dragonlance or Greyhawk, are you? Mystara has a large number of artifacts, only a few of which won't destroy you for just getting too close to them. But some of the most famous were given to the Demihumans by their patron Immortals. They are sacred items reflecting the love of their patron Immortal, but not every clan or tribe of Demihuman has one. But what are these sacred relics? What do they do? How do you get one? Welcome to Mystara! It's time to strap on the beards and glue on the ears. I'm Mr. Welch, and today we're looking at Demihuman clan relics. While all the clan relics have a different appearance and use, they also share a number of common abilities. The relics are attended to by a keeper, a hereditary position that overlooks the relic and also knows how to operate it. The relic gives the keeper the ability to dominate other members of the clan, but only for the clan's benefit. If the keeper tries to use the relic for selfish reasons, the magic will fail them. The only member of the clan immune to this ability is the clan master, who can also end the domination on a target. Relics also have various healing abilities, though the relic is rarely used in such a way as the keepers prefer to use the relics for their intended purposes. In addition, the relics repel the undead, acting as a continuous turn undead aura that the abominations have to test against every round, or suffer the consequences. Starting with the race with the artifact that has the least information, gnomes don't share a relic with a single shape, but rather a purpose. Gnomish clan relics are instead a type of power source for whatever devices or machines they focus on. The gnomes of the Earthshaker clan use the Clock of Timelessness to provide the energy needed for the giant mechanoid to function. It also has the function of a time machine, providing the gnomes with an equation to transport one individual to any point in time for 24 hours. Once they're there, they have to find a way back or be utterly destroyed at the end of their visit. It takes 20 years of calculation to discover the formula to transport one person through time. To safely return them, it takes another 20 years, so it takes 40 years to calculate the entire trip. But any method of time travel will avoid the traveler's destruction once they get there. The relic of the Sky Gnomes is, scarily enough, the Blackmoor jet drive that they recovered and consecrated to Geralt Glitterlode, their patron Immortal. They can cast multiple spells on it to make it more useful, and it was a credit to the skill of the gnomes that the device didn't turn into another apocalypse like previous Blackmoor devices have been known to. In fact, the gigantic project that involved building the city of Serain around the jet drive took nearly 300 years before the relic lifted the city into the sky where it remains today. The jet drive produces an inexhaustible amount of thrust, and with the help of wizards can actually turn magical spells into increased thrust. While it has the abilities of other relics, those are rarely utilized, or the gnomes are more concerned with keeping the city aloft rather than the healing spells it can provide. The gnomes have plenty of clerics for that purpose. The Dwarven Relic is the Forge of Power. Ever wonder how dwarves have no arcane magic of their own but can forge enchanted items of epic power? Now you know. The first Forge of Power was a gift to the dwarves from Cagiar as part of a pact for the dwarves to worship him while he protected them from threats outside their ability. The special purpose of the forge is to create stone ships, dwarven ships that can pass through rock. Think the core, only without the nonsensical plot that caused more than one geology professor to devote an entire class lecturing on just how wrong that movie was, and instead replacing the drilling machine with a longboat filled with dwarves who can row through solid rock. Because they're dwarves and they're more stubborn than the rock, so the rock is going to have to move. The second purpose of the forge is again to craft dwarven magic items. These aren't mundane magic items. Anyone trying to forge a simple magic sword is going to be sent back to Dwarven Engineering School for a refresher course. Dwarven machines like their train, their planar ram, or their magical siege weapons are created using the forge. Legendary magic items and weapons are born upon the hammers of the Dwarven keepers. When a clan is established outside of Rockholm, another forge is created for them using the magic of the original in a process that takes over a century. Unlike other relics that are used only when they are needed or simply observed by their keepers, the Anvil of Power is always in use. There's never a moment where some arcane creation isn't being hammered into existence. The Hen have the Crucible of Black Flame, but that's deceiving as the relic itself is the flame rather than the box that holds it. Black Flame, for lack of a better word, is anti-fire. It burns cold, it gives out darkness instead of light, and restores ashes to their original form. It burns things that are normally fireproof, while wood and paper are perfectly safe from it. The Hen discovered this relic in 746 BC, in a cave located in what would become Highshire. The flame is of otherworldly origin, specifically given to them from an immortal of energy. It is used to create various magical items, including the Black Sling, as well as the cloak, dagger, and sword of Black Flame. But the abilities of the Black Flame go a lot further than that. Seriously, the rules for the Tree of Life take up 2 columns. The rules for Black Flame go on for 4 pages. Ed Greenwood does not skimp when it comes to filling out the detail on a magic item. The flame itself can be spread around like normal fire. All the halfling clans have a crucible of black flame, and if the flame somehow does go out, more can be acquired from the original black flame. It burns cold, doing damage exactly like fire, except of course cold. However, it doesn't harm hen. They are completely immune to its effects. In an emergency, black flame can be consumed by a hen. This does 1 hit point of damage a round, though it has no other additional harmful effects. The hen can later expel the black flame, almost like a dragon breathing fire. The attack lasts for 2d4 rounds, all the while the hen can do nothing but puke black flame. And it actually does a serious amount of damage every round, and will spread to every object that has already been burned. The method is normally only used in emergencies to transfer the flame to a nearby container, as you're going to run out of hit points long before you reach anywhere distant. The black flame can also be used to craft arcane items, something useful for the normally wizard-adverse hen. This is done in a method similar to crafting other items like in Glantry or Alphacia. The Keeper of the Black Flame also gains numerous spell immunities, including Mind Reading, Charm, Fear, or Domination. He can extend this immunity to anyone touching him, though once the immunities are granted, the Keeper's allies can move away from him without losing the protection. A total of 4 creatures can be protected at any time until the Keeper dismisses the protection, or a certain amount of time has passed. Now moving on to the large amount of Elven Relics, though no one is going to be able to top the hen for sheer rules. The traditional relic of the Elves is the Tree of Life, though they have numerous variants on this relic, because Elves being Elves have to have all the special rules. That's why I talked about everyone else first. The rest of this video is going to be all Elves all the time. The Tree of Life was given to the Elves by Ilsendal in 1800 BC, though there are some continuity problems on whether he did this before or after becoming immortal. Trees of Life are alive like treants, but moving one is dangerous and a tedious process regardless. They move about a mile a day, with a spell that fails about a quarter of the time. They can be used to create a variety of elven magic items, though doing so drains the tree's power and has to recharge by letting it rest for a number of days. They require a keeper as normal, as well as a handful of assistants. The keeper can communicate with the tree through telepathy to find out if it's distressed. The first tree was given to the elves when they lived in the Sylvan Realm, where it remains today. When the clans left the region to journey to Alfheim, they took cuttings of the tree to replant in their new home. As the clans scattered, Ilsendal gave the new clans their own Tree of Life, each one an avatar of himself. When a clan grows too large for an area, they split into another clan, taking a cutting from their Tree of Life. Currently, there are 10 Trees of Life found within the various clans, though that causes some problems because there are way more than 10 elf clans that don't have unique relics. Maybe they have their own unique relics that haven't been talked about enough to explain it. It's a continuity problem, and this is Mystara. You're used to them by now. If you have an idea regarding the relics of the other elf tribes, go ahead and write up a treatise and submit it to the vaults for peer review. Trees have geographic limitations as well. They have to be at least 50 miles apart or they sicken and die, as they use too much magic between them to keep both of them alive. Because that's how elves fly, taking something to improve their own lots, be it magic from the forest or water from the Yellari. If the mother tree dies, all trees cut from it also die. There is a method to prevent this, but it always results in the death of the mother tree while saving the daughter trees. This requires the approval of all keepers of the daughter trees, and turns one of the daughter trees into the new mother tree, sacrificing one to save the rest. This rite has never been performed, as it is an emergency method only. The aquatic elves of Aquarendi obviously don't have a tree, but instead use the Frond of Life, a magical giant kelp. It has all the normal magical properties of a demi-human relic, and can create aquatic elf-specific magical artifacts like the Ship of the Deep, which allows them to survive crushing depths. It was given to them by Televi the Rootmaker, patron of the aquatic elves. The frond is a secret. They allow no outsiders to see it, and it is rarely spoken of lest one of their numerous enemies discover its location. The Minorthad elves have 2 relics, as they have 2 distinct clans of elves. The Wood elves have the Carven Oak, which is more of a traditional artifact than a clan relic, but don't tell them that. It is a carving of a 30-foot oak tree made from an unknown type of wood. It has quite a few nature-based powers, all of which have a chance of a negative effect like all artifacts do. Casting a wish, for example, will kill you 90% of the time. Other effects guess you into serving the elves, and others eat hit points or reduce stats for a time. Yes, I know it's spelled Geas, but it's Irish, which means it never sounds like the way it's spelled. So a little bit of trivia, Geas is not Geas, it's Gesh. It was probably pronounced Geas at one point, but then the English discovered the Irish language, so the Irish lied about how it was actually pronounced just to mess with the English. The biggest secret is the artifact is powered by a minor immortal trapped inside of it, a punishment for a dispute with the artifact's creator. The Immortal Oleon has to serve for over 1,000 years before he is freed, but will help anyone willing to destroy the artifact to let him out. The Water Elves of Minarthad have the Pearl of Power, a semi-sentient relic given to them by Khalifa Starbrow, created in her quest for immortality. It is a massive 3-foot wide pearl which gives out light to illuminate the cavern it's in, and it is warm to the touch. In addition to the normal relic powers, it has the ability to create water-specific magical items, as well as the Ship of Pearl, a magical vessel that can't be sunk by normal methods. It would be the first of its kind, as the elves are debating on whether to create one now that they have enough required shavings from the pearl. Outside of the Water Elves, no one knows of their artifact, in line with the Minarthadians' tradition of secrecy. The nation of Windar has the Elven Star, a palm-sized blue gemstone that will greatly amplify magical spells. It can dispel all the magic in a city, fireball an entire army, or will tell the keeper of pending danger. It amplifies the area of a spell by a factor of 10, useful when calculating the area of cloud kill. Using the relic too often results in it overcharging the user with positive energy, which either kills you when you acquire too much, or when it bleeds off once you stop using it. It requires special knowledge on how to use its powers. Stealing one does little because of this. Windar has survived multiple invasions because of the Elven Star, so stealing the stone or using human shields to stay the hand of the Wizard King are the only two practical ways to conquer Windar. That's it for the relics of the Demihumans. There's quite a few Demihumans clan whose relics aren't explained at all. That includes the Shadow Elves, the Belkades, the Drakalians, the ER, and the Shylar, as well as the Savage Coast Elves that don't mention a clan relic, so you gotta make those up if you want them to have one. Most of them are plot hooks, because making the special magical items takes decades or centuries. When you live for hundreds of years, you can take your time after all. Next up on Welcome to Mystara are the Merchant Princes of Minrathad and Darrican. How do they work? Who do they work for? And what do they do when they fulfill their contract? But until then, remember, Colonel Quaritch did nothing wrong.